Ben, let's bring you in because Amnesty is an organisation that supposedly stands up for the underdog worldwide. What have you been discovering?
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Diane. Hello, everybody. Great to be here, as ever. I've got a bit of an update. So we've been doing some reporting on the Walthamstow protest and a letter that I sent to Amnesty UK Chief Executive Sacha Deshmukh, and I finally got a response. It came through on Friday, and I'm going to report on that and let you know what they come back to me with. Just to refresh everyone's memory, it was particularly related to this comment by former Labour councillor Ricky Jones.
They are disgusting, nasty bastards, and we need to cull their fruits and get rid of them all. Yeah!
So, as we've reported on the show before, Ricky Jones was arrested, he's been charged, and he's going to court in January. But at the time, I noticed the individual stood next to Jones in the video wearing an Amnesty International high-vis vest. You can see here with a little red arrow pointing towards her. And I sent a message to Sacha Deshmukh, which you can read on my Substack, riseuk.substack.com. And there's Sacha, he's the Chief Executive of Amnesty UK. Just a query, essentially, how it was that someone who apparently works for his organisation could be out on the street essentially applauding a statement like that. As Brian said in the introduction there, Amnesty is supposed to stand up against tyranny, but here we can see Amnesty, unfortunately, standing alongside it. Now, I'm just going to read you a couple of pieces from the letter that I sent. You can, as I say, you can go and see this. It's on my Substack. It was sent on the 13th of August. And essentially, I said here to Sacha, it's hard to overstate the danger of the road this kind of rhetoric will take us down if allowed to continue. The potential for extreme violence across the UK has never been greater. The tone of public discourse must de-escalate and remain peaceful, else we risk serious harms being inflicted on the population, and not least by other members of the population. What do I mean by that? It leads to places like this. This is from the S21 torture chamber in Phnom Penh. This was done under the Khmer Rouge. I'm not going to labour the point. I've talked about it quite a lot recently, but this is the kind of thing that happens on the back of that kind of rhetoric. And we need organisations like Amnesty to come through and begin denouncing this. So my questions to Sacha, as I sent through to him, were as follows. Do you and Amnesty condemn those statements made by Ricky Jones? Can you confirm whether the woman in the video wearing the Amnesty top is Ulrika Schmidt, who is the Amnesty UK country coordinator, as we found out after the original broadcast? And if the woman is in the video is Ulrika Schmidt, can you confirm whether she will be asked to resign her position as Amnesty UK country coordinator? Fairly reasonable questions, I think, given the tone and the content of what was said there. Now, that was over a month ago. And I know from people in my Telegram channel that they were sending in comments to Amnesty asking for a response, and they were getting replied to within 24 hours. So this is obviously my message being escalated up the chain of command. And I finally received a message through from this woman, Kai Akram, who is the media and PR manager. She's been acting up as head of media since January 2024. She's the main point of contact for Europe's human rights issues for the UK press. And she sent me this message, which I'll read out in its entirety. I think it's important to get the whole thing across. So, dear Ben, thank you for contacting us. We issued the following statement on the 8th of August. Members and supporters of Amnesty UK attended yesterday's massive anti-racism rally in Walthamstow. The activist in the video has made clear to us that they were distracted and hadn't heard the speaker's comments when they applauded generally with the crowd. The speaker at the event is not affiliated with Amnesty, and we strongly oppose violence and any kind of hateful speech. So that's the boilerplate that was sent out at the time. On their website, I didn't see that on any of their main social media feeds, whether it's Twitter or LinkedIn or any of the other places where Amnesty UK publishes information. I didn't see that communication. They've just been sending it out on emails. That's really important. Distribution is absolutely critical here. Now let's continue. Going back to the letter here, we can see that in addition to the boilerplate response, they've added in a few extra items. So the woman in the video is Ulrika Schmidt, so that's been confirmed, who is a volunteer activist. She's not a member of Amnesty staff, right? Well, as I understand it, she is the UK country coordinator. So there's a bit of confusion here about what her role is and whether she has a formal position inside the organisation. Sounds like she does work with them, but she's not being paid by them. So maybe there's a bit of a grey area there. She goes on to say, Ulrika was subject to threats following the release of the video, which are of serious concern. You can find more information here. I agree, they are of serious concern. She shouldn't be being threatened. Nobody should be being threatened. That's the point of this. And we did report on that actually in a subsequent broadcast. And she then goes on to say Amnesty UK did not play a role in organising the rally. And then we have this statement at the end saying, we strongly oppose any kind of hateful speech, including the statements made by Ricky Jones on the 7th of August, which feels like a success to me, actually. It feels like a step in the right direction anyway, because they haven't actually formally distanced themselves at any point up to now from the statements made by Ricky Jones. And I think it's very important that they do that. But I don't think that this is anywhere near enough, to be quite honest with you. I think the first issue that I have is that this has taken a month to come to me, for a start. I mean, we're dealing with national security issues, let's be honest here. So that's not a quick enough turnaround time. It also hasn't come from the top, right? And Sacha Deshmukh knows where I live, right? He and I are connected on LinkedIn, and last week he actually viewed my profile on LinkedIn. It allows you to see that. So I know that he is engaged with the issue, and yet he's decided not to send the message himself. He sent it via his media communications team. I don't think that's good enough. As I said in my original letter to you, Sacha, if Amnesty are to maintain any level of credibility on this crucial issue of human rights, I think that you need to make a firm public statement, and we need action as soon as possible from yourself and the organisation, and not just in my inbox or on a PDF on a website somewhere where journalists can go and get it if they want to. This needs to come from your main communication channels, and it needs to be weaved throughout your entire communication strategy, because unfortunately for you, you're sitting right at the heart of very dangerous potential conflagration of ideologies and rhetoric that I believe presents a serious danger to national security and to the British people.
Ben, thank you very much for that. It will be fascinating to see what happens. Well done for challenging that particular organisation. Now, we'd like to say to our viewers and listeners that if you like what the UK column is doing, then please support us for £5 a month. You help keep this organisation going. We really want to expand the amount of material we cover and the number of people we can put in front of a camera. So we are there to get news and information out. We're there to support and protect people wherever they are in this country and indeed overseas where we can. And the truth and facts is the important weapon. So if you haven't joined us, £5 a month makes you part of the team. And we'd also like to say, please share our material. It goes out on Twitter accounts and BitChute and Telegram, but we are constantly aware that we are under covert censorship, if we call it that, and so for people to share our information, that's extremely important. You can also support us by purchasing from the UK Column shop. And if you haven't had a look at the online shop, then please do visit. And we'd also like to encourage people to buy a copy of the Agenda 21 Your Life in Their Hands booklet. This has been an enormous success, but there are still copies available. If you haven't got one, please consider buying one. Now, tomorrow we've got the second part of the interview with Debbie Evans and Dr. Sabine Hazan. And that'll be going out at 1 o'clock. And Dr. Hazan will be talking about the gut and how important the gut is, and why gut feelings are important. So if you've seen part 1, I'm sure you want to see part 2. Let's just have a little look at a clip from part 2 to get a feel for what she's talking about.
And you can see the narrative, changing a little bit. When they started talking about the vaccine injured, now you start going, well, are they trying to use the vaccination to create chaos again, to make people panic, to blame, a political candidate? You could see the narrative. This is all this whole pandemic, all this about viruses and everything. Once you put healthcare in the limelight and it becomes about the price of a stock, then you've lost healthcare. That's it.
Okay, and in that clip, she's talking effectively about constraints that were put on her after she started to question COVID-19, which impacted on her own knowledge on gastroenterology. So do have a listen into that tomorrow. Now, our conference, UK Column on Location, Bristol, the 19th of October. Tickets are still available, but they're selling quickly. So if you haven't bought a ticket, please consider getting one. And a great range of speakers, and also the opportunity to meet and speak with the UK Column team themselves. We are really looking forward to it, and we hope you'll come and join us. Now, I'll just say that Mike Robinson and myself will be talking in small slots at the Heritage Party conference. That's Saturday the 28th. It's a ticketed event, and you can get details via the office at heritageparty.org. So have a look at that. And this is just one of the small parties that we are supporting. Now, back to the subject of Ukraine, and